Hi, y'all. Welcome to Veronica's Journal. My name is Veronica, and on this channel, we discuss spirituality, psychology, and mental health. So together, we can evolve as a community that's unstoppable. Hope you all guys doing well today. I want to talk about the Sigma archetype today because I'm a Sigma and I would love to know how many of you are my fellow Sigmas. So let's get started. Please comment down below if you're a Sigma. Do not forget, comment down below if you're a Sigma, say I'm a Sigma. Let's dive in. The Sigma archetype, not the meme version, not the internet fantasy, but the real psychological and energetic pattern behind it. And why so many people quietly recognize themselves in it. Because if you identify as a Sigma, it usually wasn't a choice. It was a consequence of awareness, experience, and often disillusionment. The Sigma archetype doesn't sit at the top of a hierarchy and it doesn't sit at the bottom either. It exists outside of it. And that's the first thing people misunderstand. Sigma is not about dominance. It's not about status. It's not about needing to be seen. It's about sovereignty. A Sigma doesn't rebel loudly. They don't seek validation. They don't compete for attention either. They simply opt out. And opting out in a world obsessed with hierarchy, power games, and image is one of the most threatening things you can do. Most Sigmas didn't start out detached. They started out observant. At some point, they realized the rules of the game were rigged, emotionally, socially, and psychologically. They saw how people manipulate, posture, perform, and betray their own values just to belong. And once you see that clearly, you cannot unsee that. So the Sigma archetype is born when someone chooses integrity over approval, truth over comfort, autonomy over acceptance. That choice often comes after betrayal, after burnout, after emotional exploitation. Many Sigmas were once highly empathetic, highly engaged, deeply loyal people until loyalty cost them way too much. So they recalibrated not into bitterness, but into boundaries. And boundaries are misunderstood as coldness by people who benefit from your lack of them. A Sigma doesn't overshare. They don't explain themselves endlessly. They don't perform emotional labor for people who haven't earned access yet. That doesn't mean they lack depth. It means their depth is protected. One of the defining traits of the Sigma archetype is selective engagement. They can socialize, they can lead, they can influence, they just don't do it compulsively. Unlike the alpha types who draw power from external recognition, Sigmas draw power from internal alignment. They don't need to dominate a room. Their presence already shifts it. This is why Sigmas are often misunderstood, projected onto, and even quietly resented. Because when you don't seek approval, you expose how much others depend on it. When you don't compete, you expose how empty competition can be. When you walk away calmly, you expose how desperate others are to be chosen. Sigmas rarely announce their exit. They just stop participating. And that silence speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. Another key aspect of the Sigma archetype is self-directed morality. Sigmas don't outsource their values to trends, tribes, or authority figures. They think for themselves. They question narratives. They notice inconsistencies. And this makes them dangerous to systems built on compliance. Not because Sigmas are aggressive, but because they are incorruptible. You cannot move a Sigma. You can't shame them into obedience. You can't bribe them with status. You can't scare them into conformity. They've already survived isolation. And once someone has made peace with being alone, they are no longer controllable. That's why many Sigmas go through a long period of solitude. Not loneliness, solitude. There's a difference. It's a recalibration phase. They step back, they observe, they rebuild their identity away from noise, expectation, and emotional drain. This phase is often mistaken for depression by outsiders, but internally, it's a refinement process. Old attachments fall away, false roles dissolve, energy returns. The Sigma doesn't isolate because they hate people. They isolate because they value clarity. And clarity requires quiet and calm. Emotionally, Sigmas feel deeply, but they don't leak. They don't react impulsively. They don't argue for validation. They don't chase closure. They let reality reveal itself. This emotional restraint is often interpreted as emotional unavailability, but it's actually emotional discipline. They've learned that not everyone deserves access to their inner world. And that lesson usually came at a cost. Sigmas are often targeted by narcissistic personalities because narcissists sense independence as a threat. A Sigma won't orbit. They won't pedestal. They won't chase. They engage as equals or not at all. And when manipulation doesn't work, distance becomes Sigma's answer. No drama, no smear campaigns, no need to win, just withdrawal. This ability to disengage without hostility is one of the Sigma's most powerful traits. They don't need to destroy bridges. They simply stop crossing them. Over time, Sigmas tend to become highly self-sufficient, financially, emotionally, psychologically. Not because they don't value connection, but because they refuse dependency. Dependency creates leverage, and Sigmas are allergic to being leveraged or controlled. This doesn't mean Sigmas are antisocial or incapable of love. When they love deeply, quietly, steadily. But they choose partners and allies based on alignment, not chemistry alone. They value respect over intensity, consistency over passion spikes. They don't chase highs, they build foundations. Spiritually, the Sigma archetype often aligns with the archetype of the wanderer or seeker, someone who walks their own path, someone who learns through direct experience, someone who doesn't need consensus to trust their inner compass. This is why Sigmas are often drawn to philosophy, psychology, spirituality, or creative solitude. They are pattern seers, meaning makers. They're not here to fit in. They're here to understand. And understanding changes you. One of the hardest truths about being a Sigma is that visibility often brings distortion. The moment others start labeling you, projecting onto you, or like lying to you, you lose your freedom. So many Sigmas choose to stay understated, low profile, powerful, but quiet. Because real power doesn't need witnesses. If you resonate with the Sigma archetype, it's important to understand this. You are not broken for wanting distance. It's okay. You're not arrogant for refusing hierarchy games. And you're not cold for protecting your energy. You adapted, you evolved, and evolution looks like withdrawal before it looks like strength. The Sigma archetype isn't about superiority. It's about self-mastery, not needing applause, not needing enemies, not needing permission, just alignment. And alignment is rare. So if you walk alone, sometimes understand this. You're not behind. You're not missing out. You're simply on a path that requires less noise and more truth. And not everyone's built for that. And this brings the video to the end. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Share it with one other person. Have an amazing day. Love you all. Take care. Until next time.